Whose quote was that, Lester?
So I don't know whose quote it was, but I follow a radio personality, Ashley on air. Shout out to Ashley. She's like a dope radio personality. Like her style of doing things is like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty dope. It's not really like the shocking kind of stuff, you know what I mean? It's just like more honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she posted, I don't know where it came from. She seen it on a TikTok. And her tweet was, I saw a TikTok that said the funny thing about spiritual growth is that when you reach enlightenment, sometimes you lose your goals because there's no one left to impress or prove anything to. So like, I can specifically relate to that because I definitely felt a shift in that when I feel like I got to a certain place spiritually and mentally where it really just shaved off all that anything that had to do with goals or things I was trying to do that had to do with needing somebody else's praise or needing somebody else to kind of complete that mission. I kind of left that alone, you know what I mean? Because it's like if I have to do certain things to get people to feel a certain type of way about me because I have to consciously do it different or consciously do it this way or that way, then I don't want to do it. Because what a lot of people don't realize when they change a couple things to do a certain thing, as far as like when they change some things about them to reach a certain goal that they think they wanted, they don't realize that once they get to that goal, you can't just switch back to how you were because those changes you made got you there and you got to kind of keep that up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like one of those things where you got to really be mindful of how you do the process because you got to think about how am I going to sustain this?
So I want to touch on the quote. So it said, once you reach that point of self-realization, is that what it was?
Actually, I'm gonna put it on. I should be able to put it on the whiteboard here. Let's see how this thing works. Whiteboarding. Started your whiteboard. Never done this. I guess it don't work like that.
That's it.
All right. Well, the quote says, the funny thing about spiritual growth is that when you reach enlightenment, sometimes you lose your goals because there's no one left to impress or prove anything to.
Okay. So what does reach enlightenment mean? Like, how does that shift?
So to me, specifically in my experience, and it's definitely not like a 1 minute to the next kind of thing. It's just kind of looking inside. So you kind of have that internal battle that a lot of people, including myself, don't want to have because you kind of don't want to confront those things. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the stuff that happens in our everyday lives is 99% of it is self-induced. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize that anytime you're putting any kind of expectation on somebody, they're doing the same thing to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting a certain kind of expectation on them, they're putting a certain kind of expectation on you. And if you're not clear about your intentions or you're not clear about how you live your life, you are going to fail with those people because basically what I'm trying to say is I've seen a lot of the things go left and I've had a lot of things go left in my own personal life that it came from somebody, whether it be me or the person, not being clear with their intentions from the beginning and not saying those uncomfortable things along the way. And I feel go ahead.
Is the realization realizing you're not doing shit for other people anymore? You're doing it for your own action. Like what's exactly. I want to know what's that realization.
So basically, I look at it this way. So if you're the type of person that enjoys making others happy, you know what I'm saying? Because there's definitely people that's a passion.
I had a convo about this recently. It's a good
you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's certain people that I see on that tip that you know what I'm saying? You can kind of see their energy and see what they're about and realize, yo, this is something they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. It kind of goes back to the Jimmy Kimmel thing we were talking about the last episode. You know what I'm saying? No, Jimmy Fallon. All right, so my bad. So Jimmy Fallon, like one of the things that they kind of were touching on is they realized that he would be good to host that show because they noticed that he had that empathy. They noticed that he has that enthusiasm of people. He genuinely cares. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing is gonna take him very far.
You have to have that personality trait to succeed in that field. You have to give a shit about everybody and what they think and what they feel.
Exactly. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna be in this position and be a hermit crab, or I'm gonna do it my way." Nah,
I tell you what,
the way you do it.
And that's crazy. You just made me realize that I am that way with my business. You know what I mean? Everybody who's a stakeholder, everybody who's an investor, everybody who plays part in how I get paid gets treated in that way.
Not facts. And it's funny you bring that up, because something that I've been really mindful of in business, and something I've tried to like tell anybody that asks or anybody that I talk to on that level, is kind of the same thing that we're talking about with life and enlightenment and stuff. Like you can carry that into your work. You know what I'm saying? If you as somebody that's providing a service or providing goods, whatever you're doing, if you want to work a certain way, work that way and don't make no exceptions. All you're gonna do is weed out the people that aren't your customers. You know what I'm saying? You just keep saying, "Hey, oh, sorry, I wouldn't be able to help you with that." Ain't nothing wrong with that. Would you rather, you know what I'm saying, keep it real with them and let them know that you're not going to be able to do the job to your best of abilities, or be 3 months later and you're giving them a half-ass job and now you're looking bad to them? Because it's like one of those things in business is you can never tell another, like if you have a customer that badmouths you, you're not there to defend your side. All those people they're saying things to, you can't tell each one of them, "Oh, but this person did this. Oh, this person didn't give me this on time." You know what I'm saying? Like if you make these exceptions and you let people cut corners with you, you know what I'm saying? You got to deliver. And if you can't, or if you don't want to, then you got to make that, you know what I'm saying? You got to cut that off. If you know it takes you 2 weeks to do something, somebody wants it in a week, I can't do it. Sorry. Because in a week, you're not going to have it done. And now you just look bad. And now you're stressed out. Now you have a week basically that you've had a terrible time. And time is something you can't get back.
It's funny. I see a lot of stuff about, and this is like meme stuff, but it's like introverts who make plans and then get so excited about canceling plans. Like you can't take that approach. Like you can't just commit to stuff. And just be like, "Oh, when it comes around, I'll cancel." It's like, no, just say no from the beginning.
And that's what of the things that
I can't.
Yep. That's one of the things that I used to have a problem with when I was younger. I didn't like doing a lot of stuff, but I would be like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then you start to realize that you guys will have a better time if I just don't come, as opposed to me being there and being tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you could look at it from the point of view of, dang, you're whack for not coming, or you could look at it from the point of view of, I'm letting y'all have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was there, I'll be wanting to go home mad early.
Not feeling it. No, I think that's the most that I've come to realization, and it's like there's a good amount of people in my life that I reached a point where I just need to say no to, instead of just cater to people and just always accept, you know, the stipulations and how it comes. It's like, nah, you know what? This time around, I'm gonna just go ahead and say no. Like, it took, but look, I'm 30. I'm turning 38 next month. You know what I'm saying? It took me. I've probably been like this way for a year, and I attribute it to moving to Vegas and separating myself from that easy access with everybody. Taking myself off all social networks for 5 months, like from January 1st to May, to beginning of May, and that like allowed me to be like, yo, everybody who I came in contact with, who I continue to know what's up with, who I talk to all the time, since I moved here, since I deactivated my socials, those are the people that I invested energy to, and that's a great group. Like this is, you know, this is strictly just for the fun of it, for what we're doing.
Right.
The three of us. This is like, there's nothing to benefit as far as financial or social. Like we doing this because we fuck with each other and we can do this. Like nowadays, there's very few people that you can put in that category.
No, that's fact. That's fact. And I think also going to that enlightenment point, like it's also, you know, I feel like everybody's enlightenment is different with you know what I'm saying, would elevate them.
Agreed. And that's why I asked,
saying?
like, Lester was his. Like,
Yeah,
I want to know because everybody's is different.
yeah,
Exactly.
Because for example, like for me, it's like I think enlightenment, and I mean, I feel like I'm still on my journey to enlightenment, but I feel like I've become more enlightened as I've eliminated the need to try to prove other people wrong. Like I went through a phase, man, from like 20 to 27 probably, of like so many people looking at me a certain way, and I'm like, all right, bet, let me show you what I can do. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you how I can get it. And you know what I'm saying? If you burn that bridge on the way, then you burn that bridge on the way. You know what I'm saying? And then you get to a point where you realize, like, bro, like, let me just enjoy this. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's no reason to still be like thinking like that. Like, enjoy the fruits of the labor.
Like, what's that? You gotta stop thinking what everybody's gonna think.
Exactly.
And we all go through that, some form or other.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of going back to that whole idea is like you gotta, and that's where that internal battle comes in. You know what I mean? You gotta look inside and say, okay, what do I really want? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I really want? What am I really willing to commit to? What's something that I don't like? You know what I'm saying? Because like all those kind of things is what's gonna open your mind even to how you should maneuver going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you can't be afraid to take a huge step. Like I'm telling you, I met wifey, and within 6 months I wanted to marry her, and I was gonna elope. So I told my closest handful of people that we were gonna do it, and I told my family that we were gonna do it, and everybody else is gonna find out when we did it. And that's the craziest thing I ever did. But because I did that, considering moving to Vegas was the second craziest thing I ever did, and everybody laughed at it. Like, all right, yeah, you're moving to Vegas, and then I did it. And you know what I mean? So it's like you take that first step and not worry about people think. That's gonna open you and enable you to take every other big step that you're afraid of and that you want to accomplish. It's like just gonna keep building your confidence, double XP your confidence. You know what I mean?
And it's like even like going back to like the thing about like people, you know, and our relationship with people, I don't think enough people realize how much everybody really only cares about themselves. And then immediately people have a feeling that you're saying that like you're saying somebody's selfish or something. It's not about people being selfish. Is if you look at it from the scope of you, Joe, you, Quincy, I'm looking at y'all and I'm like, yo, y'all are the ones spending 24 hours a day in your body with your point of view, going through your struggles. I can't tell you anything about how you live your life because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know anything about what either one of y'all got going on. Like, and like, I don't know where I heard this, but it was like, it's crazy to think that like when somebody dies, that's like a whole universe that dies because they're the only person that looks at the world like that. They're the only person that's had those experiences with those people. So it's like a whole universe going away when somebody passes. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody else is gonna.
I never heard something like that.
You know what I mean? Like nobody else is ever gonna have that experience or ever had that experience.
I was never gonna walk that same exact path again. Ever.
So when I look at it like that, I look at it like this. I'm not gonna put certain expectations on y'all that I should expect of myself. And the expectations that I am gonna put on y'all, I'm prepared for you guys not to go through with them just because I know we're all dealing with our stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, once you kind of have, for me, I felt like once you kind of have that kind of mentality and you learn to appreciate people and understand that even people that do messed up stuff, they got to, you know, these things around them got them to a certain point and they haven't realized that they can control those things around. You know what I mean?
I think compassion is one of the top one personality traits ever. Just understanding that someone else doesn't live the same life as you. Yeah. They don't see the shit the same way you see it. They ain't been through shit the same way you've been through it. And just understanding that, it's gonna get you a long way, for sure. That just understanding that not everybody, not even, and that's in personal relationship, like with my wife and with my parents and my sister, knowing that they don't think like me, so I can't expect them to think like me, and just understanding that avoids a lot of conflict.
Yep. Yeah. And the part where I feel like the part where you really have to learn how to like even be like more mature is when you're at that point, but certain people around you are not, but you still have to maintain a certain level of peace or a certain level of oneness, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say that you're whole, but then somebody not understanding your lifestyle or somebody not in your same frequency can like throw you out of it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's something I've been real mindful of lately. Like, you know, trying not to even feel like I need to get in a fight for something. You know what I mean? Just like realizing like, dang, your day is going so crappy that you're getting to this point. I can't even imagine my day getting to a point where I would just put my energy towards like wanting to fight somebody. You know what I mean?
To take
so it's like, dang, for you to be doing that, something got to be going on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna just let you slide with that. Let's just, you know what I'm saying? Because that's always like the little weird thing that you got to navigate too. Like, you can get to a certain level of maturity, or you can get to a certain level of enlightenment, you can get to a certain level of wisdom, but you still have to have grace for those around you. Like you said, like family members, people that just know you from a child or know you since
your entire life,
born.
and they expect you to be a certain way.
Exactly. They want you to fit the mold of their life. You know what I'm saying? It makes more sense to them for you to be here in their life, so they're gonna try to do everything possible to put you in that spot.
Yeah.
But I also do see it as something that grows you and continues to mold you, and I see growth out of it either way. Just dealing with that type of thought process, you know.
Yeah,
definitely. And even if you look at the other side of that, it's crazy to think, like, because we all know them, like how many people you know that are very old or passed away already that you knew like they were mad petty in life, or they were mad immature about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, dang, man, you went through your whole life and you just never realized that you could be at peace all the time. Like, it's so crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it literally, like, when I see people like that, like, it's like very impactful, because it's like, man, like, you've really been like this 80 years and you just like don't know what it's like to just, you know what I mean? Just be at total peace and relaxation and just enjoy everything that comes your way, you know?
That shit.
So, think about this, just random people you see today and getting towards that age. And I think about, because, you know, I'm hitting 40, like, this kind of people you just accept they're going to be that way the rest of their lives.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna just say real quick. You can accept it, but I also think that then it becomes, you know, the maturity and wisdom to say, okay, I'll accept you for who you are, but I'm gonna put you in that box of, you know what I'm saying, and not let you too into my piece, because I don't want you to disrupt that. Yeah, but
you're probably one more layer of the onion outside of
exactly
my core,
you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you said, I'm gonna have compassion, but at the same time, you know, I'm on my journey too, bro, and
just can't bang with certain people at the same time. Yeah, and that's why I feel like for me, changing into evolving into the person I am, and I still have this really close group of friends that I fuck with and fuck with me genuinely, and I know that it's like, all right, I think I'm all right. Someone will give me an intervention if I'm getting too grumpy.
Facts. And even going back to what you were saying about age and you know, getting to a certain level of just, you know, from a mentality wise, from an age standpoint, like, it doesn't really connect exactly, but it makes me think of, and I'm gonna go back to comedians in cars, because if y'all, I know y'all have checked that out, but like, if anybody listening hasn't checked that out, it's some of the best conversation I've ever heard in my life.
Shit, I want to go back and listen to Chris Rock one.
Like, you just listen to them talking, and it's like, I appreciate that show for the same reason I appreciate Drink Champs, because there's a certain point in those shows that you see people let their guard completely down and they're just talking amongst each other, and that's when you start hearing things that really, you know what I'm saying, like real gems and little wisdom things where it's like, okay, that's how I need to move with this thing, because they've done it, you know what I'm saying? They've been through it, and they're literally telling you right then and there.
And that's the dope shit about comedy. It is an art, and they use their personal lives and like that dark side of their lives and express it through their jokes and their comedy, and like, you see that side of them.
A lot of comedians are like some of the wisest people, bro.
Facts. You know? But what I was saying, the quote from that that popped in my head when you said the age thing, Joe, is I believe it was Trevor Noah. He looked at Jerry and he was like, Jerry had said something that like made Trevor do the math in his head, and he was like, "You're 60 something, Jerry?" And Jerry was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, You look extremely good for being 60 something years old." And then Jerry just looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, I've never worked a day in my life." And then they just started laughing. Obviously, he's worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy is worth mad money. You don't do that by accident. He says it in jest. You know what I'm saying? But he knows he works hard. But I have a strong feeling that it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. That he's one of those people that said, "This is the world I want to live in. This is how I want to operate. If you want to be around me, this is how I operate." And he learned that right away. And that's what's taken him to the point where he's at. You know what I mean?
I agree. He's always been the same Jerry Seinfeld his entire fucking career, life, everything. Never done anything outside of what he does, and never stopped doing the original shit he does, like the shows in LA. He's still doing those late night shows in LA. Like, he's never switched up. He's a good guy.
Yep. And it's that going back to what you said, Quincy, about comedians, just that lifestyle even is just so like deep, as just from the point of view of you're in, you know, those type of rooms that you're in doing comedy, like it's probably the rawest you're gonna get with a group of people. You know what I'm saying? And they're even, you know, you get certain comedians get to certain points where they just start saying things, you know what I'm saying? And people start talking, you know, if you go see the comedy in the clubs, it's more personable, you know what I'm saying? They go a little longer, they improvise a little more, and they ask people in the crowd questions and stuff, and like you'd be surprised at things people say, you know what I mean? Like, and how deep it gets. And it goes back to something real quick. It goes back to something Eddie Murphy said on Comedians. Is he said that he thinks that it's something scientific in a comedy, like a comedy room or a comedy bar or wherever people go perform, like just a stand-up comedy place. He said he thinks there's something scientific about everybody laughing and letting off those pheromones, and like just the way, like he said, the vibe and the smell and everything in a comedy club is something that he don't get nowhere else, and he thinks it's like a scientific thing.
That's real.
That's
But what were you saying, Joe?
No, we went to a comedy show. Do you think, because you said something about it, do you think the comedian really needs to like interact with the audience like that?
No.
Because this dude kept asking me crazy questions, like nobody was answering him, so I kept answering him. So he just kept kind of like joking off me because I was the only one answering. And I got kind of tired at it, and I kind of made him realize, and he realized it.
I think when stuff like that happens, like for example, like, you know how like there's like scandals that people, you know, say, "Oh man, this comedian said this on stage," or their show got like this with a heckler, whatever. It's like, bro, people have off days, people have bad days. Like, it could be just as simple as, you know what I'm saying, somebody pissed them off earlier and they were just in that mood, you know what I mean? Maybe he didn't even have no material, and he was just like,
didn't, bro. And he was like, "How long you been married?" "A year." He's like, "Oh, that's why you're still happy." And then he just kept going off on that. And he's like, "Where'd you get married?" "In Vegas." He goes, "You did?" I was like, "Yeah, you fucking right, I did." And he's like, "All right, okay." But he like, the show was just going off him asking me questions. I was like, "Yeah, if you're a good comic, you don't need to just do that the whole time."
Yeah, most of the time we'll have material. He probably was just off. Like,
that was just a side note.
Yeah, usually when I've been to, because I've been to a few comedy shows and comedy clubs and stuff, like they'll do it a little at the end, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they might do it like a little in the middle, but yeah, just call and response, like, nah, bro. I'm not playing Simon Says out here.
I'm gonna go back and watch those comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, man. There's both the Jimmys were on there, Fallon and Kimmel. He even had Larry David on that shit, didn't
he? Yeah, the Larry David one was funny, man. I mean, of course. Larry David, that's another funny show, man. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I love that show.
There's such a funny dynamic of like, when you really listen to like the things that get him mad, he has a point every time, but his execution after is what always makes him the bad guy. Like, he's always right in the beginning. Like not every time, but most of the time, the point he makes, it makes
like
mad
you get
sense.
it. You get it.
Yeah, exactly.
He just handles it all wrong. He gets himself into the worst shit.
Yep, like one time he asked somebody for his money back that he let them borrow, and they got mad at him, and he's like, "How you getting mad at me? I'm asking you for my money."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Of course, like anybody relates to that. But then what he did after, you were like, "Wow, man!" Like seriously.
Nah, I wanted wifey to start that from the beginning. She was like, he just gets himself into too much shit, and I was like, that's pretty much what every episode is.
Yeah.
Him just getting himself, like with the Trump hat.
Oh my gosh, bro. That was the most hilarious thing.
But it made 100% point. You know what I mean?
If anybody listening never seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David had an episode where he realized if he started wearing a Trump hat, people would not want to talk to him. And he's like very antisocial. So like he was like, I can get out of appointments with this. I can get out of things I have, commitments. I can, you know, be left alone. So he just started wearing it just so people wouldn't mess with him. You know what I mean? And it's so hilarious that like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where his mind goes. Like he don't even care like what it represents. Like he don't care like what people might think that he thinks. He's like, oh, they're just not gonna talk to me.
Someone questioned him and he's like, no. He's like, nah, of course I'm not. I was like, I just wear it to get people away from me, and they're like, "That's worse."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's a man. Shout out to Larry David, man. He's a man. And the fact that he co-wrote Seinfeld with Jerry Seinfeld, right? Was there another person?
Yep. There's a lot of like debate, as like a lot of people say, like once you look at Curb, how can you say that Larry David wasn't the mastermind behind Seinfeld?
Yeah.
But I don't look at it that way because I feel like the stuff Seinfeld does has the Seinfeld vibe. Like he still has the same kind of like vibe to it, the same kind of comedy, the same kind of conversation. Dynamic. Like everything he does, even though he hasn't done a show per se after, but if you watch comedians, it gives you the Seinfeld vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still being Seinfeld from that apartment in New York. You know what I mean? Like
he says a little skits on how he calls them and how he picks them up.
Exactly.
And he has a different car every episode.
Yep. It's a super dope show, man.
Like there's like a theme to it. It's not just him and another comedian in a car. Like there's a literal theme to every episode that you look forward to. Like how does he call them? How does he pick them up? In what car? Where do they go? What else do they do? Because I think like him and Jimmy Fallon went like on a canoe or some shit.
Yeah, they went on a little boat. Like they took the car. I think it was like a Jeep or something, and then they went to a boat.
Yeah.
And something me and my wife like kind of like we feel like this is why he does this, but like if you watch it, you can tell that he's not scared of anything. And me and my wife are like, it has to be because he got so much money, he can replace anything that he messes up.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So like if you watch, he'll ask somebody to drive their 18-wheeler. He's never driven one before. He'll drive somebody's like 80-foot tour bus. He's never driven one before. You know what I'm saying? Like he's taking all these crazy cars like every single episode.
Yeah,
like,
maybe Amazon just paid off.
He's saying whatever he wants to people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like you could tell like he's at a certain position where he could just literally do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm. Well, the level of success is crazy. It's Illuminati level of success.
And it kind of goes back to the Chappelle stuff, and it's funny enough that that's another comedian, but they both kind of went the same paths. Seinfeld's was a little less dramatic because it wasn't really that he like quit the show or anything. He just didn't want to do another season at the height of the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which was like unheard of. You know what I mean? Like he was like, nah, I'm good. You know, the show has ran its course. And then he just kind of went ghost, did a movie a few years later. Like he really just didn't care. He's like, I did what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And from now on, whatever I do, it's only like stuff that I really want to do. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it, like I just feel like it's not a coincidence that he has a lot of money. It's not a coincidence that Dave Chappelle turned down $50 million and said, you know what, let me go back to what makes me feel good. And now he's worth way more than that $50 million that he turned down.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's no you know what I'm saying, coincidence with stuff like that, because that goes hand in hand. I feel like it's something where goes back to the enlightenment and being, you know, at peace and that oneness. You know what I mean? When you know you're moving how you're supposed to be moving, the money gonna come. You know what I'm saying? Like that life you're looking for gonna come as long as you stick to those principles. You know what I mean?
And you have creative freedom.
Yep.
Because you're that good.
Exactly. They trust you in every sense of the word. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing. Like they build that trust with, you know, all those companies, because it's like, yo, he's gonna get it done on time. He's professional to work with. He cares about this as much as we do, so he'll get the money for a show. He'll get the approval to do whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying? Because they know if we working with him, this is gonna be successful, and we gonna work.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't understand what like hard work really is. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not the time, it's what you're doing with the time. You know what I mean? Because you could be like in music, like that's a big thing. Like there's people that feel like if you're not in the studio 12 hours a day, you're not dedicated or you're not serious. But then there's other people, like you look at somebody like Eminem, and he works in the studio 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and if he don't finish the song and it's 4:55, he'll be like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just finish this verse tomorrow. And he just comes the next day.
Yeah,
that's Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what you feel about him, he's a big artist. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny that.
That's why.
So it's like, you know, it goes back to that other thing too. Like some people, that's how they need to, you know what I'm saying? That's what makes sense to them. If they're not 12 hours in the studio, they're not going to get the best work. And it's understanding that everybody works different.
You think that's how Dre is?
I feel like definitely, like from everything I've heard from anybody that's ever talked about being in a studio session with him, they say them sessions last forever. He makes you do 60 million takes. He'll make you re-say a word 50, 60 times until he finds you saying it exactly right. You know what I'm saying? Which it's like, that's why he's created the sound he's created. But that super clean sound, it's not something that I always want. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that rawness, and sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, if like when it's too manicured, sometimes it's like, all right, I don't want to hear this too much. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Some of my favorite songs sound like they could have been recorded in here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I found out recently J. Cole was a part of the Detox studio sessions.
Oh, sure.
And that's where he told someone about, they say he told Dre about Kendrick.
Speaking of that, I remember, and we were talking about, I think, Slaughterhouse last time. Joel Ortiz was part of those sessions too.
For real?
I think he wrote a couple of verses like on one of the songs that Dre did.
Damn.
Joel Ortiz was dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like depending on like what makes sense for you, that's what works for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like understand. Like for example, when Quincy moved away, it's like, yo, you're moving away because that's what's best for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
You know, there's certain people that are like, oh man, you're leaving. Like it's like, what? You want him here for what?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's how I felt when I was leaving too, man. It's a big step to move away from like where everybody's at. And it took a lot of adjusting, but I'm telling you, I love it here, man. Like I made this place home. Like it took about 1.5 years, and now I actually feel like I'm home.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that gotta be a little like, because I've never moved. Well, actually, like recently, I haven't moved a lot, but from basically since I was born, like I lived on a new place like every year. Like I came from Puerto Rico to Florida to Texas, back to Florida, then to Pennsylvania, back to Florida, and then like when I was like 18 or something, that's when I finally like stopped moving around. You know what I mean? So I've been like a lot of places in Central Florida, but I always stayed in this area. You know what I mean? So I don't have like a very vivid recollection of like making a big move. You know what I mean?
That's it, yeah. Nah, I was in Florida since I was 10 years old. I moved away when I was 36. So yeah, freaking 26 years. In that 5-mile radius, like my middle school, my high school, my college, my elementary school, everything was
in that little circle.
Yeah, never left East Side.
It's crazy, man. And it's crazy, like when I go other places, you know what I mean? I look at like when you pass by a neighborhood or you look at a house or something, and you wonder if that person has ever been somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like especially when you're like in a small town, like you pass through a small town or you staying in a small town, and you're like, hey, like I can't imagine being here my whole life. You know what I mean? Like it's just hard to imagine sometimes. Like when you go into somebody else's space, like dang, like you live in a completely different reality. But it goes back to what we was talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? Everybody literally has a different life, and What works for them, works for them.
Yeah, I thought I spent my whole life in Florida. I would never thought I'd leave. And as soon as I moved here, I thought I was gonna move right back. And now, as time goes by, I'm like, we'll see what happens.
It's crazy because when I moved to Atlanta in 2017, and my situation changed, and I came back to Orlando for school. Like I knew that I was coming back to Atlanta. Like it was just finish school, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It was just like when I moved, bro. Like something about the culture was different. You know what I'm saying? The living here was different, and it just opened my eyes, bro. It opened my eyes because before I moved to Atlanta in 2017, I went on a road trip, and I basically went all the way across like the country. Like the only thing I didn't touch was like the way West Coast, like Cali, Nevada. But I basically went from like Texas up to Nebraska, all the way back over. Like I did probably like a 4-week trip. It was about 4 weeks. And that really opened my eyes, bro. I was just like, there's a lot out there. And
damn, I need to go up there, man.
Yeah, nah, man. It's cool, man. Like it's real dope.
I don't think I've ever been there. I think I've driven through there. I've never actually stayed there.
Yeah, the one thing that has been making me want to move lately is the weather, bro. Like I've gone to so many different places, and the weather here is so bad compared to everywhere else, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it just feels horrible here. You don't even want to get dressed for anything. Like I'm just in shorts and a t-shirt every day. Like
the humidity.
Yeah, man. Like you don't even feel like it makes sense to get dressed up over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just sweating through everything. That's why I stopped wearing dress shirts for the last like three years that I lived there, because I was just sweating. Like long sleeve dress shirts, I just sweated them out, and I hate wearing white beaters underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like wearing the white beaters underneath the t-shirts.
Cause you have like a white beater body.
That's hilarious.
But the thing with my wife gets mad because like sometimes we'll like go and she want to go to a nice restaurant, and I'll just what I'm saying, I have some shorts and a t-shirt on, and I'm like, it's hot. It's nighttime and it's 90 degrees with 100% humidity. You think I'm gonna be in there, some slacks and a long shirt? You are crazy.
Facts.
There's no way. I don't care.
It's just starting to get that hot here, and I'm a doofus. I like dressing up, but luckily my wife be like, "Yo, it's gonna be hot." Like I was gonna wear a t-shirt and like I don't remember what to the Lovers and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been a big mistake.
It was hot there?
Bruh.
I forgot. No, that's crazy because it was actually in Vegas, wasn't it?
Bruh,
you was in a good situation. That's dope.
That's
a lot of
people I never expected, man.
Yeah. A lot of people was like backing out because the flights were like super expensive.
Yeah.
And, Joe was already there, like
it was the craziest shit I ever experienced. Like it was just waves and waves of people. Like I remember just sitting at the stage and there was like nobody behind me. And then I forgot who was on. They finished. I think it was like Pretty Ricky, and they finished, and there was like 300 people behind me. And I was trying to walk back to where like the bar is, and I felt like I never was getting to the end of people. I was just walking through people. It's the craziest shit I've experienced. I've never been around that many people in my life at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I learned my lessons with being at the super front with them festivals, dog. That jump.
Yeah, you'll never get out.
Wild, bro. It gets wild.
You'll never get out.
Yeah, whenever we go to like them shows and stuff, we usually just go like kind of far back. You know what I mean? Like we just chill like in a little spot where you can kind of just sit
and enjoy it. Like
you know what I mean? Like you see the screen nice, you still see the artist. You know, you hear it good. Like I'm cool with that. I don't need to be close. I don't need a high five. I don't need you to lock eyes with me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts.
I'm straight on all that. I just want to appreciate the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we found a good little pocket. We could see the screens. We were in the vibe. I was able to light up, and nobody was around me pressing me. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah, me and Quincy actually went to Rolling Loud in Miami like 2018 or 19. I don't remember which year it was.
Yeah.
But
it was right before COVID, like the year before COVID.
Yeah, it was like it was that year, like middle of that year.
I'm taking my niece to Coachella next year.
That's the one. That's what's up.
Frank Ocean's gonna headline.
Yes, sir. That's what's up, dog.
Yeah, he was supposed to do the COVID year, and then they canceled it. So now he's gonna make up for it this year. So If wife can get it off, she's coming. If not, just me and my niece. She's the one I took to the Tyler Creator concert, and that shit was amazing.
I heard that was fire too.
I had a fucking amazing time with her. She made me a fan that night. Well, he made me a fan that night, for sure. And Kali Uchis was there, and Ben Staples was there. It was dope. It was a good show. Really, really, really good show. And I didn't realize his demographic is like middle school and high school kids.
Oh, hell yeah.
They love him. I didn't know that. Yeah, they love him.
That's crazy. I know it started like that. I didn't know it was still like that.
Oh, bro, the whole entire arena. It was Orlando. The whole arena was middle school and high school kids, and young high school kids, pretty much. Yeah, like for loving it, like knowing every word, everything, like.
And it's like he's been in the game for a minute, bro. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to still connect with the young people like that, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna be around. Like,
and he's talented as fuck. Like
exactly.
He writes it, he produces it, he does everything. He does everything, and like he
lives by that name, bro.
Yeah, he's
creative. Yeah, just shit. Yeah.
He's low key had like already like a legendary career. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not everybody's cup of tea, so they don't really, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's cup of tea, so they don't really.
We talked about last episode. From now on, he has my courtesy of listening to whatever he comes out with from front to back. He now has that.
My little brother actually put me on to him like when he first kind of came out. My brother was like that, you know, the Wolfgang stuff. Yeah, that whole crew that they had. My brother, Our Future. He was all about that. And when he showed me, there was a few songs that I like. I really like that She.
Yeah,
that was the first.
Him, Frank Ocean, Earl Sweatshirt, all those dudes are all from Our Future. That's dope. They all came up together.
Yep, and Earl Sweatshirt is like low key one of the like the underground goats right now. Like if you talk to like anybody that listens to underground hip hop or like straight bars,
he's probably the most popular out of all of them.
Yep, they talk about Earl Sweatshirt like he's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Big time. Wasn't he like locked up or something? Everybody's like free him.
I don't know, to be real.
Or something happened. But yeah, no. He's definitely the most popular out of all of them. But Coachella next year, I'm hype. I hope we lost him?
I'm still here. I guess the camera went out.
Yeah. I'm up with my nieces who want to press the front of the stage. I'm like, listen, girlfriend, she's 13. Like, I'm not trying to be stuck up there. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Was the Dreamville Fest like that?
Bro. It was bigger than I thought. That's the craziest part. Like there was like 50,000 people there. And you know, it was to the point where like, because the way he set it up, you're literally just walking back and forth between two stages, and it's like the timing of it was perfect. You knew that if you left this stage maybe 5-10 minutes early, you'll get a good little view. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody was good, but I never tried to get a good little view because the later the night got, bruh, the further that good view got. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, so you did the exact same thing I ran into. That's crazy.
I'll get, you know, I'm saying I'll get where I know I'm gonna enjoy it, but I'm not digging too deep because y'all already here for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, but I enjoy it, bro. I love festivals, man. I really love it.
For sure.
Yo, so these last 2 episodes have been dope. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time to wrap this one up. But I really want to get this in here. It's been nice. You know, we've been flowing on marshmallows, having a great time. Next episode, we got to get into that Zeitgeist.
Dog.
Ready.
That joint is crazy.
2 Blunt Zeitgeist. Mommy is quite nice.
Yo, anybody that was listening to the last episode, expecting it for this episode, our deepest apologies, but it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm ready.
Worth the wait,
I'm ready.
Yo, I put my LBs onto it today. My line brothers. I was like, I dropped it in the chat like, yo, get high, sit down, and just, you know what I'm saying? Just watch it, bro. Just give it a chance. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, so my camera's out, but I can still see y'all and everything. But that thing is like so crazy, and like if y'all get a chance to, like, everybody that's listening, if you get a chance to check it out or even just check out little parts, I think it's pretty long. You know what I mean?
It's about an hour and 55 minutes. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And basically, like, this whole like podcast, like this next episode is gonna really get into the meat of like the real reason why I started this podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
like,
neither of us know our views on it.
This is the kind of stuff I want to talk about, like, because that is a crazy movie just as far as introducing different things into your mind. It's not about, when I look at stuff like that, I look at it like it's information. You know what I mean? Like taking the information,
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? If y'all know the Instagram at Everything Grounded. If y'all want to send us what you think, we'll talk about it in the next episode. If y'all have seen it already, let us know. We'll throw it in the story there too, so y'all can let us know. But we all definitely got to get into it. Like Joe said, we haven't talked about it before, and this is exactly the type of stuff that I wanted to get into on this podcast. So I can't wait to get to that one.
Yeah. I'm with it, man.
Hey, look, time, my dudes.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Just to kind of wrap it all up, that I feel like watching that definitely has guided me on my journey to enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm ready, bro. Let's get it.